technical skills. We offer industrial welding programs, IT specialists. IT is for information technology. We also offer cybersecurity, which is one of our newest programs. We offer machining and computerized numerical control operations training, PLCs, which are programmable logic controllers, as well as robotics. We have industrial electricity, as well as HVAC. And of course, we have our truck driving certificate program.
There you go. And that's where these two gentlemen fit in the conversation today, huh? Is that it?
Absolutely.
All right, very good. Brian, let's go over to you here for just a minute, because Keller is a name that has been around this area for a long time. I think anybody in Northwest Ohio has seen a Keller truck on the road around us. And in fact, if you've driven anywhere in the United States, you probably have seen a Keller truck for a long while. Give me a little history of the company.
Yeah, Tom Keller, my uncle, is the founder. He incorporated in 1978. I believe he had 5 or 6 trucks at that time. I joined the company in 1990, fresh out of college. At that point, we had 20 tractors. Since that time to today, we're now up to 120 semi-tractors, 350 van trailers. We have warehouse locations not only in Defiance and Napoleon, but in Columbus, Ohio, Charlotte, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Denver, Mattoon, Illinois, and Princeton, Kentucky. So we employ around 350 people nationwide. When you count our part-time and temporary employees, we're in the 500 to 550 range.
Wow.
Yeah, and we also have 2 other small companies, Keller Expedited and Keller Courier and Delivery.
Now, is this a situation where you had to grow and get bigger? I mean, is it because we hear that story a lot in the United States? The little guy is squeezed out. You either get bigger or you go away. Is that what happened?
Well, we look for diversification for sustainability,
okay.
Right? So when I joined the firm, we were 98% General Motors, and for a long time career, and for the business to survive, we had to diversify.
Okay.
So we moved into warehousing, which then opened up other trucking opportunities, and we just continue to roll like that.
I think that's a very unique point, because you said you moved into warehousing. You're a trucking company. What's a trucking company need with a bunch of warehouses? I guess the average guy would say, huh?
Yeah, with the trucking, we were hauling insulation outside of Defiance, Ohio. They were storing it in Toledo, and that made no sense to me. So Tom and I decided to build a warehouse in Defiance, and immediately we filled it up with Manville insulation, and then we built a second one and a third one and a fourth one, and we're continuing to try and diversify, but Manville took up most of those locations. But then as they went through a period where they didn't carry so much inventory, we started storing for companies like Spangler Candy and Silken Container and Campbell Soup, and actually when we got to Dallas is because John's Manville asked us to go put a location in there for him to distribute product. And then with that, we got another customer, a bottled water customer, who took us to a bunch of different locations throughout the United States.
Isn't that amazing? That's phenomenal how that all works out. And so the customer says, we like what you're doing. We like the service that you have. You're on time. You get things the way that they need to be delivered. But we need to have somebody out in the southwest part of the country. We need somebody in the northeast part of the country. And so you have an option, I guess I would think. You either lease or rent a location somewhere, or you partner with somebody, or you do it yourself.
Yes, we've done all of that. We've leased buildings.
Okay.
We own a building in Dallas, Texas, because there was an opportunity to buy it, and we got different customers there, and so what we looked at was we had diversification in industries with warehousing and trucking, and we had diversification in customers, but we wanted diversification geographically too.
Wow.
So if one part of the country is down, we hope the other part of the country is up, which we feel fortunate being in cities now like Dallas and Houston and,
Sure.
and Atlanta, growing places.
Yeah. How has the hurricane treated you down in the Texas area now?
It affected our Houston warehouse, of course, but they just had to take 3 or 4 days off and wait for the water to go down and then get back to work. So we were fortunate. We're in Sugarland, which is the southwest side of Houston.
Okay.
Didn't get hit quite as hard as some of the other spots.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go too. John Wolfram, you are the Director of Operations for Keller. I think for anybody that would hear that title, they would say, okay, so what does John Wolfram do?
I gotta have all the fun.
So what does John Wolfram do? Best having all the fun. How's that?
So with what I'm doing, our truly biggest challenge is hiring and recruiting and retaining quality truck drivers. So hence why we're here with Northwest State, and we saw the need to bring new students into the industry. We were hiring with just 2 years experience not a year ago, and then we dropped that down to 1 year experience, and we got some more folks in, but it still hasn't been enough. And we really felt the responsibility to make this partnership and to try to bring new entrants into the company, into the industry in general, because there's a huge truck driver shortage, and it's not going to get any better. The average age of our drivers, 54 years old. That number's not been going down, and as you can imagine, that's going to be quite a problem moving forward. So.
Oh, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So you're the guy every time that we see an ad in the paper or on TV that says, we need truck drivers, we need them now, we'll pay you this, we'll pay you that. That's your job.
Yep, partly, yep.
That's terrible. And why the shortage? I mean, why don't people take a career like this? Because I've been around the trucking industry. I mean, it's a good paying job. Most of the time you can fit that to a schedule that fits your lifestyle. But why has it been so difficult?
That's a great question. It's a great career. A truck driver is a skilled professional. It's a profession to do their job, and they get paid very well to do it. Our first year, a driver can make $45,000. We have some senior drivers who are pretty good at what they do. They're very efficient. They make up to $70,000, $75,000 a year, and it's not like you're gone for multiple weeks at a time. We have jobs where you're home every day, and we have some hourly positions, and we have positions where you're out all week, and we try really hard, and we're successful 90% of the time of getting the driver home for the weekend.
Sure.
And you make pretty good money, and you're out there on the road seeing all kinds of neat stuff. We have drivers that'll touch 5 or 6 states, in a week. Like they'll be down in Dallas, Texas. Next thing you know, they're over in York, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And then back home, and they have 3,000 miles, and they made $1,200.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
You know what? If I was a younger guy and could drive back a trailer, I think is the ultimate. I think the ultimate description.
Something interesting. My daughter Lindsay Keller, she's 19. In fact, going to Northwest State, and she's getting her CDL.
Okay.
And she parallel parked a semi the other day.
Really?
So even a 19-year-old girl can do it.
Well,
5'3".
So you're going to shame me into doing this,
right?
What you're going to tell me at this point in time. Now, I used to try to back a boat onto into the water, and my wife will tell you it was not a pretty picture. Okay, so if I do put my name in, basically I would say, John, don't take my application. Okay.
No problem.
It may be you might have a real headache on your hand at that point in time. But I agree with you. Basically, Brian, I know a lot of folks who are truck drivers. Now, I'm of that age. I'm 63 years old. So there are those 53 plus aged folks that you're going to try to replace right now are a number of my friends. And they've loved that job. They've seen all of the country. And it's not like you're working every second of every day. You normally have some downtime, and they're creative enough oftentimes to have figured out how to space their time so they can spend a couple of days here, and then they get a car, or they have a car rented or whatever, and they spend a couple of days looking around the area, and it's been a wonderful lifestyle for them.
Things have changed in the trucking industry over the years, especially since I started in 1990. The tractors, they're better maintained. Mm-hmm. They're a lot of air rides, so that it's a nice ride. Automatic transmissions. The roads are better than they were back in 1990. So it's a nicer thing. It's a much better occupation now than it was.
Really is.
And our drivers. I ran a report the other day. The average hours our guys work a week is 50.
Okay.
You know, so you know, we run legal as most people do, or the new ELD mandate here December 18th. Everybody will, and so it's not the 70 and 100-hour a week job that it used to be. It's 50 hours a week, you know, and you get 10 hours of rest every day.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good situation. Brian Keller, Jonathan Wolfram, both of the Keller Trucking Company, and also Ron Scazzari of Northwest State is with me right now. Guys, you all appreciate that. Every now and then you have to pay the bills. That's what I have to do right now. We'll take a step away. We're talking about the opportunities that are out there for you in the trucking industry right now, and also education that is coming from Northwest State that is very unique and very new. And we're going to continue doing that here in our schools program all the way until 10 o'clock this morning.
County Fair, September 9th.
Back here in our education program, 26 after 9 o'clock, and with me is Brian Keller. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Keller Logistic Group. I noticed that that logo, it used to be Keller. Was it Keller Truck Lines when you first started?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The group is the parent company over trucking and warehousing.
Okay, so logistics then is the group is basically the umbrella.
Yes.
Okay, and then underneath that you have a trucking division and you have a warehousing division, and it is still Keller Truck Lines. Is that correct?
It still has the name Thomas E. Keller Trucking Incorporated.
Okay, there you go. I've seen that truck so many times, and it's like anything else. Once you see it so many times, you kind of lose track of exactly what it says. Okay, but the Keller does jump at you very, very quickly. And so let's get into that, Brian, a little bit. You've got a situation now. How did you get involved with Northwest State? Why do you bring a group like that into your business?
Yes, we decided that we needed to train our own workforce, like so many employers in Northwest Ohio are doing now. If you want quality people, you've got to train your own workforce. And so we sat back and talked about who would be a great partner that could help us, because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And we're not going to have a farm where we're going to just churn out students. We're going to have high quality people who are going to be very safe and efficient on the highway. And so I was on the board of Northwest State several years ago and knew of the quality program that they put together. And so we called them up and said, would you guys want to partner with us and train truck drivers right?
Yeah. And so you got a hold of Ron, okay? You didn't get Jim Bellamy involved with this thing at all, did you? I mean, I hope not. I mean, he's a wonderful guy and a very great facilitator, but he's more of a good color guy than he is an administrator than he is that. So Ron, I'm sorry, boy, why should I take Jim's one of my best friends, and here I'm taking a shot at him.
Jim's been a great liaison with us.
He is a wonderful fella, and you guys are lucky to have him. There's no doubt about that. So all of a sudden, Brian comes to you, and he says what he said, okay?
Sure.
Now, the wheels start to spin on your side, okay? And now you have to try to design a program that's going to match to what he needs, right?
So what we did was we have a 15-week program, a complete 15-week, 18-credit program, which is financial aid eligible. Okay. So you don't have to come in without any funding. You can ask for funding and receive it because of that. The 15 weeks is broken up into 3 5-week segments. The first week of the first course, students come to the Northwest State Archbold campus for classroom instruction. The remaining 4 weeks, the students are out on our driving range, which happens to be on the Keller site there in Defiance. Okay. There, they learn the maneuvering, the cornering, backing, parting, both in urban and rural environments. And those classes are held typically Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 during the day. Typically, our classes are small classes. There are 5 students or less, so there's an awful lot of personalized instruction, and we like it that way. The second 5 weeks is a paid co-op through Keller or local provider, where the student is paired with a mentor, and they travel the service routes of that organization through the United States. And the third 5 weeks, the final 5 weeks, is also a paid co-op experience where the student drives through those service areas in a solo fashion. So during this time, when the students are on the road, they may have assignments from Northwest State, and those can be done online. So they don't have to come back to campus and do those assignments. So in literally just under 4 months, the student learns everything they need to know to be a qualified, entry-level, very competent interstate or intrastate truck driver.
Wow.
Sure.
Dean Scasari with Northwest State is the Dean of Industrial Technology. When you say there might be some assignments that are out there, I'm sure there are some folks who are saying, okay, it was good until the homework. Okay? I mean, all right. Well, what types of...
Well, everyone's got homework. Everyone needs to learn technology and technical terms and legal and rules of the road and all of those sorts of things.
So they pertain to the job pretty much.
Absolutely, job pertaining homework.
John, I've got to believe that this is a much, much, much better way of training a truck driver and then providing a person who can do the job you need them to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you can imagine, the scope of the job is very in-depth. The equipment, we have a high level of technology with the equipment. All that needs to be learned and understood. You can try several times, get your CDL and walk into a company and kind of be, blindsided and really not know what you're facing, but we're going to hold your hand through that whole process. And we've got guys that are trained to be trainers. They've been on the road for 20 plus years, most of them, and they're going to give you the ins and outs. And on the road, it's not just driving the truck. It's finding a place to park. It's understanding where you need to be at what time and those sorts of things.
Oh, sure. It's not as easy as just hopping up in the seat and taking off, is it? Huh?
Yeah. So they learn a lot of interesting things from our drivers that you can't just get without experience. And you're getting all that experience in a matter of 10 weeks.
I can't imagine. You cannot teach a truck driver out of a book. Okay, I mean, I don't think if you don't put your hands on the wheel and drive the truck down the road, I don't want to be next to you out on I-75. Exactly. You know what I mean? Right?
Exactly.
And I think in the good old days, I have to believe, Brian, you had some of that. I mean, whether you like it or not, you didn't have that really well-trained truck driver all the time. You might have thought you did when he came through the door, or she came through the door, but then you learned.
Yeah, I call it truck stop university,
Okay,
right? So
yeah,
that's
sure.
they get trained by sitting at a truck stop and drinking coffee and what their fellow truck driver says, and so and sometimes that's good information and sometimes it's not, and so what we want to make sure is they get the right information, so they're trained and so they can be efficient at their job. There's, like you said, there's a lot of nuances to delivering a load, and there's a lot of nuances going down the road, and we don't go as fast as cars. We don't take off as fast. We take wider turns, and so you've got to read the car traffic patterns to keep yourself safe and the motoring public safe, and you only do that through experience and through having a mentor by your side saying, when you see this wheel do this, this means this car is probably going to do this, and so you better back off, you better move to the right or the left or whatever, so that you can have an escape route. And that's some of the things we teach. We have a Smith System training program, which we put every driver through, so they learn defensive driving techniques. We make sure we run the safest truck line there is.
Yeah, well, and that's got to be critical, because A, you need the load someplace on time, and B, you need it there safe without either your driver or anybody
Getting hurt.
associated with getting hurt. You're
Right.
Because either one of those two things don't make you money. And let's be honest, the bottom line to keeping any business is to be able to make a profit at the end of the year.
Yeah, our tagline is how's it go, John?
Time may be money, but life is priceless.
Yeah, there you go. That's the important thing. That's why John. That's why he came here. John's here for all the taglines.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he is. Those Wolframs, they're clutch.
They are clutch people.
That's all I gotta say. If anybody knows his brother, he knew that when the clock was ticking down Defiance College, whose hands did the ball need to go to?
Logan. Yep.
Exactly. So Logan got the ball, so it looks like, John, you taught him well.
Yeah.
How's that? Exactly.
I'll take it.
No doubt about that. So, Ron, how difficult was it to set up a program like this with these folks? You do this for a number of different companies. Was it more of a challenge to set up a truck training program than it was a welding program or any other program that you guys work with at Northwest?
No, this relationship is strong. We have a great relationship, and we couldn't be happier working with the Keller organization. They're a great team to be with, to work with. We're quite collaborative in how we wanted this designed and in what we wanted as outcomes for our students. So between the classroom work and the on-site experiences, I don't think you can get a better opportunity. This is one of the few opportunities probably in the country where we have this sort of relationship. We have an academic setting combined with a corporate entity, and that corporate entity happens to be the most respected trucking company in this area, as well as extremely well respected across the country. So we couldn't be more pleased with designing this opportunity for the future truck drivers.
Yeah, I think the thing that you made note of here when you were describing that 15-week process too, you kept saying paid. People are getting paid.
Yes.
They're getting paid, they're getting paid, they're getting paid. And I thought that
They
was
are.
a real key too. I mean, how many times do you ever go to school anywhere and somebody's handing you a paycheck at the same time? I mean, generally it goes the other way. I'm paying you, I'm paying you, I'm paying you, I'm paying you. This is a situation where not only are you in the training, but you're also getting paid to learn what you're doing. Yep. That's amazing. That really is an amazing process. And Brian, I've got to believe that has hopefully brought more people through the door to take part of this. When did we start? I guess that's a question I haven't asked. Has this program already started and been in place for a while?
We just started in August.
Okay, so we just barely started this whole process out. Yeah.
Right.
Have you seen a number of candidates? Or how many folks are enrolled at this time? Do we have that already? Do we have a first class?
Yeah, we have a first class. There are 2 individuals in there, and we've got more classes that start soon. There's another cohort that's going to start on September 27th, and another after that on November 1st.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you can start this. It's not a fall registration, a winter registration, a spring registration.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be 8 5-week classes across the course of the year spread out. So
okay.
Yep.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, that just seems like an ideal situation. Now, do they get paid? Let's talk. Can we talk money at all? I mean, is that possible?
Talk general.
Okay, that's good, because a cost for anybody listening right now, those are two things that are going to be interesting to them. You know, how much does it cost me, first of all, to be part of the program, roughly, and how much money am I getting back by working in the program? So can we address those two?
Yeah, so obviously there is a cost of enrollment with Northwest State. It's around $5,800.
Okay.
Like Ron said earlier, they do qualify or can qualify for financial aid. There's also several grant opportunities that we're working with the state and federal governments with to try to get some funds there for the students. We realized that having no income for 5 weeks is a problem while they're there at Northwest State, so we've got a loan program we offer the student, low interest, that they can pay back over the course of their employment with Keller.
Oh, wow.
So that assures that they've got income coming in for those first 5 weeks. And then once they're hired on with us, the money's pretty good right off the bat. The first 5 weeks we kind of progress into that, but once they go solo, we've got it figured where the first year they should earn up to $45,000 a year, and then the second year, as long as everything's going well and they're catching on to what's going on, they should be able to make up to $60,000 that second year.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
Yep.
Now, they're the employees of Keller at that point in time?
yeah, after that first 5 weeks, they get their CDL, they get their Class A CDL, and then we can hire them as a full-time employee.
Okay.
And then for that first 10 weeks of employment with us, they'll be reporting back to Northwest State in order to get that credential.
Okay, okay. Are there benefits in the trucking industry then at that point in time once they become?
Yes, as soon as they're hired on, they qualify for our full employee benefits, all dental, health, medical, 401k. We've got a clinic here in Defiance that's a company-owned clinic that it's free to the employees. Great opportunity to take part in. So we've got some pretty good benefits.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, $45,000 a year to start, full benefits, okay? Help with the expense to get the degree that they need. That sounds a little revolutionary there, Brian. That's not the way the trucking industry used to be in 1985.
We're trying to do things differently, and it's treating people the way they should be treated to get the high quality individuals. Right? You're not gonna, if you're gonna try and go cheap and underpay people, you're not gonna get quality people.
Yeah,
that's what we're after.
I heard a really interesting thing, John, out of your mouth a minute ago, because it's something that we address. We do a Wednesday medical program here, and we're always talking about insurance and cost and treatments and all those types of things. And we talk. You mentioned a clinic.
Yep.
You're starting to see that. I know here in Bryan, Spangler Candy Company did something similar to that. So you have a facility now where it's not if you've got a head bump or you've got something minor, you can help take care of those problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let Brian talk to that a little more.
Yeah, the one Spangler is doing is the same one we have in Defiance. We've had it for 3 years now, I believe. It has 2 doctors, 3 or 4 med techs. We do all our driver physicals there. We were strongly encourage every employee to get a physical every year. And yeah, if you're sick, got a cold or something, you can go in and see the doctor and try to nip that bug in the right away, so you don't get more sick, and your family's allowed to go too. Spouse and children. We don't do infants, but it's been a real benefit to everyone, and we see a healthier workforce because of it.
Yeah. And when Phil Ennin comes in here from the hospital, or I have folks come in from insurance companies, they always say that's the real expensive part, oftentimes, of an insurance policy. Obviously, open heart surgery, which is $250,000 or more, is expensive, but it's that every time you go into the hospital and you see a doctor, and that makes it difficult for insurance companies to deal with.
Yeah, our benefit is if we're preventing people from having that catastrophic.
Yes.
Right. So a driver goes in for a physical, or anyone really, and the doctor notices something on their heart that maybe doesn't sound right on their heart. We got an EKG machine.
Okay.
We hook them up. Hey, what's going on? If it's something serious, then they're referred to, a specialist. But we're continually finding new devices, not new, but bringing new devices in that'll help catch those catastrophic things.
Yeah.
So no one has that big one.
That is amazing. Well, I'll tell you, it's exciting what you've got going on. All right, we got to pay some more bills, guys. Brian Keller and Jonathan Wolfram with Keller Logistics is with me, and also Ron Scazzari with Northwest State. And we've got about another 15 minutes or so, and I've got some questions, guys, that are coming off the wall. So get ready. How's that? You listen to theCUBE. We're talking education here on a Tuesday morning.
Williams County Fair, September 9th through the 16th. Come and enjoy all there is to offer.
I was listening this morning to a group talking about, they were in Frankfurt, Germany now, and they're talking about all the automatic vehicles. And down to this guy's claim from Germany was, we're only days, if not, weeks away from having this whole thing automated and everybody in an automated car. And that scares the living crap out of me. Okay. They always say that whenever you walk into my place here, an hour goes pretty quick, guys, and that means we're down to like the last 15 minutes to be able to chat here today. I have Ron Scazzari with Northwest State. He's the Dean of Industrial Technology. Jonathan Wolfram, who is the Director of Operations for Keller Trucking, and also Brian Keller, who's the CEO of the Keller Logistics Group, which is the umbrella for the entire operations that we've all known for quite a while. All right, let's go to, I'm going back to the boss right now because I want to start with this one. This morning I was listening, as I told you, to a discussion out of Germany. There was a group that was saying that in Germany they've got the auto show going, and we're just days, if not moments, if the most weeks away from automating the entire system and fleet that rolls around the United States at this point in time. And it sent a shiver down my spine a little bit, Brian. So please tell me we're not quite that close.
We are not close at all. My industry is projecting 20 years out before we get into fully automated, and up until that point, I mean, we're adding safety devices all the time: lane departure, collision avoidance, the adaptive cruise so that the truck will slow down. We have drive cams, dash cams in our cars, or our semis, so we can, if something happens, we know what was going on, whether it was the motorist or our driver, so we can correct whatever needs corrected or learn from other people. I think you'll always see a truck driver in the seat. His role just may change. He may become more like a airplane pilot, put it on auto cruise when you're going down I-75, but you get into Dayton, okay, take it off cruise and navigate down into where you're delivering on those more technical side of things. But no, I think you're going to see a truck driver in that truck for at least 20 more years.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah, that scares every time, because as I made that comment to you, I do believe this. I will never, I'm an old guy, so I'm never going to change my ways, and I love driving, okay, and so it comes through my family. My dad, my grandfather, you go back through, and it probably comes through your family as well, Brian, if you're in the trucking business. There's got to be a love for driving, I would think. And so I'm not going to go to that automated pilot anytime, probably in my lifetime, unless you're going to force me to. And at that point in time, I will probably take the bus, okay? Because it's just going to be too difficult. So I'm going to be that crazy factor that's out on the road, still, you know, weaving in and out of trucks and cars and everything else. And those smart cars are going to have to deal with me, and there's no predicting what I'm about to do. That's the problem we're going to do. John, what do you see in the next 10 years, 15 years as the challenge for what you guys have in your industry?
Well, I'll go back to drivers, and I looked at a statistic earlier this morning. By 2024, they're predicting 145 to 175,000 driver shortage.
Wow.
And right now it's in the tens of thousands. You know, people could argue somewhere around 50,000. And you know what that tells me is this is a great career opportunity that's going to be around, and with that demand and labor, the wages are only going to go up. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you're looking to move into a new industry, I think trucking's a great one to look at.
Yeah.
You know, with trucking, your jobs never get shipped overseas.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a great point. It really is. Yeah, and always it's mind-boggling. But when you take a look at the volumes that you guys can transport, okay. Trucking is still one of the most reasonable way of getting product from one point to another point in the world that we're looking at this point in time.
Yeah, with intermodal, I believe trucking is competitive with intermodal up to 1,200 miles.
Okay.
You know, rail is good when there's large volumes. You think coal is a good commodity, or grain, or something like that, but they're not as efficient as we are, because we go door to door.
Yes.
And we're quicker.
Okay. You see an awful lot of the trailers on a train, because we live in train company, man, in the country. That I came up from Dayton and really saw some trains, but when I got up here and then sat at the train track in Archbold one day and watched two trains going both different directions, and then I got those two gone, and the one in the middle track came, and I saw my first time 3 trains on the same track in my entire life. I just went, holy mackerel, we're in train country here, up here. What makes sense to take those big old trailers that you guys haul and put them on that train at that point?
It makes a lot of sense when you're going to California and back.
Okay.
Or you're going East Coast, West Coast, and vice versa. You really got to have that distance, or it just doesn't work.
Yeah. So you put them there, you drop them off somewhere, and one of your guys then picks them up in California and then takes them
right
up into Washington, the state of Washington, or
exactly.
wherever they're going to go from that point on.
Exactly.
And that's got to be a difficult job, I would think, to be able to sit there and do the logistics on something like that and be able to figure that whole thing out. But it's been a couple of years you've been doing it, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well, we actually don't do much intermodal.
Okay.
Right. That's the bigger companies do that, like JB Hunt, Swift, those. Yeah. We're just you know, we're a truckload delivering. You know, our furthest lane is Dallas, Texas. We go to Pennsylvania a lot, North Carolina a lot, up into Michigan and Wisconsin, a little bit of Iowa. So we stay within a pretty small, we call it our marketing zone, you know, so we can get our guys home frequently.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we go to the same place most of the time, so you know you'll see another Keller truck if you have an issue, or and you also know where to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No doubt. Did you say something about a van portion of this too? Is it all semis, or do you have a smaller fleet that you also operate with?
We have two smaller fleets, Keller Expedited and Courier and Delivery. It has box trucks, cargo vans, pickup trucks. It's doing expedite work for companies in Northwest Ohio. That wherever they need to go, last minute delivery stuff. And then we have K&P Medical Transport, which is we transport Medicaid patients to doctor's appointments and stuff.
I've seen, you know what, I've seen those vehicles out. I didn't realize those were you guys.
Yeah, we serve 4 counties right now, and we have like 26 Ford Focuses and 4 wheelchair vans.
Yeah, you see more of them every day.
Yeah.
It seems like over the last few months, whether you've added maybe more drivers or something, but you see 2 or 3 of them now every day, where for a long time, first time I saw K&P, I went, wow, okay, who are those guys?
Yeah.
And now I really go, who are those guys? Because there's a bunch of them out
there.
Yeah.
Keller and Peck.
Ah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the Peck come from then?
Dan Peck, yeah, he's a partner in the business. Yeah.
Now, do those drivers go through the same types of training or have that same opportunities, or is that a whole different?
It's different training. They do the defensive driving training. They have to. They're trained in CPR, first aid. The background check is more stringent. The sheriff's department does that for us. Of course, drug tested and everything. So they're qualified, but it's different.
Yeah.
Than a truck driver. Yeah.
All right, let's do this really quick because we're down to the last 5 or 6 minutes here. If somebody wants to be part of a program like this with Keller, okay, do they go through you, John? Is that where they go, or how would they raise their hand and say, I'm your candidate?
Yeah, so there's two options. They can contact us or they can contact Northwest State. We have a full-time driver recruiter. Her name's Lauren. You can call in and ask for Lauren, and she can get you all the information. She can make you understand what it's going to be like to work for Keller, and then put you into contact with Tom over at Northwest State, who runs the day-to-day of the program over there. And he'll talk you through, what the program entails, and then also, the financial aid side of things, and get them in touch with the enrollment folks at Northwest State.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And Ron, this is not something that's new to your operation. I mean, I know that's kind of what you do, isn't it? You sit down with guys like these and say, well, you've got a need, I've got a solution for you.
Absolutely. We've sat down with several local and regional manufacturers over the past decade, and we've composed many apprenticeship style programs that are company sponsored. And working closely with them, we were able to design a product, a certificate program, a skill-based program that meets those employers' needs. What we've done recently over the past couple of years is we've created what we refer to as hybrid courses. And this refers to a lot of the industries where shifts are variable. People work all sorts of different shifts on any given day, any given week. So in the hybrid model, some of the work is done online and some of it is done on campus. It's a competency-based program that was literally designed by a significant input from those industries. So we're providing we're meeting the workforce needs by providing a timely solution for courses that are done in a much shorter fashion. Students don't have to come to class for a 16-week semester. We've designed that to be an 8-week term, so now you can knock out 2 courses in the same time as you would in the past during that same semester.
Wow.
So the employers like this. They like the variability, they like the diversity, they like the accessibility of this new way to learn.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful situation. So if there's an employer out there right now, much like Brian was a few years ago here when he started to think about this and then contacted you, how do they get a hold of you, or who do they contact at Northwest State for help?
They can reach me directly. I'm at 419-267-1429. That's my direct line at the college, and they can reach out to me directly. We work pretty closely with other divisions in the school. If an employer is looking for a much more customized solution, we do have a division called Customized Training Solutions that if they want a 3 or 4 day class that is 8 hours a day and doesn't quite fit into the normal college academic schedule, we can provide that as well.
Wow.
So,
in a perfect world, John, right now, if you had the ability, how many people would you hire tomorrow to fill the openings that you have?
So we're doing pretty well right now. We're almost full, which if you were to walk around the country and ask every trucking company, that wouldn't be most of their answers. So we've done a really nice job there. But the big part of us participating in this school and this training is a catalyst for growth. We have the desire to grow. We think the industry is moving in the right direction. So we've committed, if we can fill the seats, that we'll take on 5 students every 5 weeks essentially out of this class. So we'd be happy with that, and if we can be successful with that, we'll look at getting another instructor and adding more students. So
Wow.
the sky's the limit.
What a wonderful way to solve a problem, or at least help solve a problem that is out there in this world right now. Guys, thank you. Our time's pretty much up for today. There are jobs out there, I guess is what we're telling you right now. They're well-paying jobs, and it's a very easy process. You got to work. You got to work at anything, but there is an easy road to a very nice career if you'd like to be in the trucking industry right now. And Brian Keller, the CEO of Keller Logistics, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Jonathan Wolfram, try to keep your brother in line if you could, okay? I know that's probably a full-time job.
Yep. Appreciate you having us.
Director of Operations for Keller Trucking, and then Ron Scazzari, wonderful work over there, as you guys always do. I'd make another comment about my buddy Jim Bellamy, but he's probably listening right now, and I will pay for it on Saturday when I see him next. But I know Jim and all the folks at Northwest State do just such a wonderful job to work with businesses like this, so please keep up the good work.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure to be here, Jim.
We have been talking about the opportunities for you in the trucking industry here today in our education program with three wonderful folks from Northwest Ohio. We do it every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we invite you to be part of our program right here on the Q 96.5 FM. Time to start playing classic hits again. It's almost 10 o'clock here on a Tuesday.